What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today we're going to be talking about something that's kind of puzzling amongst Philadelphia Eagle fans, and that is the free agency period and how we're going to deal with the salary cap. Who's going to resign? Who are we going to lose? Are we going to sign anyone in free agency? I mean, a lot of people think, I like your mock drafts. Mock drafts are cool, talking about who the Eagles need to get and stuff like that. But not a lot of people are talking about the free agency period, and free agency for the Eagles has been kind of a whirlwind. I think it's a very calm way of describing. Under Chip Kelly, we just would rattle the franchise every year, be it trading franchise players like LeSean McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, Nick Foles, for just absurd transactions. You know what I'm saying? Or losing some of our big players like Jerry Maclin, Evan Mathis, stuff like that. And then, we got Doug come along, and then we still have the gunslinger, Howie Roseman, back there. We brought Alshon Jeffrey in. I thought last year was going to be calm, and then out of nowhere we got Alshon Jeffrey on a one-year, $8 million deal, the best deal signed in free agency last year. And then even throughout the year, talking about acquisitions, the Jay, Jake Elliott, Patrick Robinson, low-key, being an absolute baller for us, Garrett Blunt. I mean, we always make big-time moves, man, and this year might be a little bit different. We're currently, with what we're going to have to pay our draft prospects, $9 million in the red is not good. So how are we going to get under that? That is what I'm going to try to get to. Who should we, decide and really, prioritize and keeping in for our nice little, in-house signings? And if not, who is available in free agency that would be worth looking at? So we're going to start with the cuts. I think first and foremost, Torrey Smith is at the front run. It's a clean cut of $5 million. We cut our deficit in half. I think Torrey Smith was a little bit undervalued throughout this playoff push. He was the veteran presence, made a couple big plays. But ultimately, Mack Hollins is younger and can fill that void, the deep threat. He's bigger. He's probably quicker. He didn't drop any passes, whereas Torrey Smith had that little mid-season headache of just dropping everything that came his way. So I think that's an easy cutoff right there. Wendell Smallwood will be gone. He's just odd man out in the backfield. That frees up $500,000. Brent Selleck's an interesting one. Brent Selleck would free up $5 million in cap. I kind of hope he goes out on top and retires, because it would be pretty painful to cut a fan favorite. And really, he's kind of an Eagles legend. It would suck. I mean, same kind of scenario would be going on to, obviously, a greater extent, maybe in Chargers when they get rid of Antonio Gates. But Selleck, man, I just really hope he goes out on top, retires, and there's another free $5 million, which instantly, with those three players, puts us in the green. We're working with the house money after that. Looking at we called it fodder, just guys that are signed to future deals and other things like that. That'll free up about $1 million. So now we'll say roughly 1.5 in the. We'll say we're up. Okay, right now we're 2. We're 2 in the green. Donnie Jones would free up $1.5 million. Donnie Jones was not that great this year. He's one of the more expensive punters. And we need to get younger. Look at the draft class. There is plenty of punters that you could draft. Johnny Townsend from Florida. You have the Texas punter that's really good. J.K. Scott from Alabama. Use your 6th, 7th round pick, something like that on a punter. That would definitely be good. And, really with this, you kind of, special teams could get a little cheaper, You don't care about thinking about special teams until you have a bad special teams unit. So I'm not saying just ignore it. But I think where Donnie Jones was like, lower middle of the park for all his punts this year, we could definitely, free up that cap space, get a punter via free agency, or more importantly, I think getting a good one in the draft and free up that. So that's what are we, $3.5 million in the green. And then we have Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry's very interesting. I think he could be a prime candidate to restructure because he's a diehard Eagles fan. I think when push comes to shove, I think Vinny Curry would rather make, right now he's a $5 million cap hit if we save him, right? Or if we save his money. I think it's dead. I think he's $11 million in total that we would save, but like 5 of that would be dead, or it's not out of 4, 6 of that would be dead. Whatever. However it worked out, there's $5 million would be cleared if we cut Vinny Curry. But I think Vinny Curry would rather make maybe $1 million or $2 million less, or restructure it so that's what it is on the cap, than go to, say, Cleveland or something like that. Because, Vinny Curry's a diehard Eagles fan. Go watch his introductory press conference after you get drafted. It's definitely one of the better things. It's made me a huge fan of him. So hopefully he can restructure. But if not, we'll just say $5 million, he's gone, man. Because when you look at the defensive line, Vinny Curry goes, we still have Chris Long. Derek Barnett now can outright start. You still got a guy like Steven Means, who's low-key, pretty damn productive. He's always one of the preseason MVPs. So we have depth at defensive line, on top of, obviously, you got, Brandon Graham on the other side. It's an expendable position if we're trying to prioritize other spots. And I kind of would go that way. I would like to keep Vinny Curry, but if getting rid of Vinny Curry means we can lock up 2 of our guys that are set to leave, you got to make the tough decision like that. It happens to Super Bowl teams all the time. They're never... That's the battle after winning a Super Bowl, and is maintaining that. We're lucky that we only really if you look at our impending free agents, probably only 2 big losses potentially. Versus, a lot of other teams. I just remember the Ravens, after they won the Super Bowl, their team was terrible the next year. They lost half their team. So hopefully that doesn't happen here with the Eagles. We're in a decent spot. Also, I guess in terms of cuts, you have Nick Foles. Whatever happens with him, if he's no longer on the roster by trading, I think that also frees up $2 million. So with all these things, we could have plus, 8 or 9, depending on what happens with Vinny Curry. So with that being said, it's tough to predict what exactly. We'll go with the low. We'll say we don't have Vinny Curry, so we'll have 3, or we restructure 4. Well, let's say we'll have $5 million worth of cap. Let's just say that $5 million. So when you look at our impending free agents, here we go. We got Darren Sproles, Nigel Bradham, Trey Burton, Corey Graham, LeGarrette Blount, Caleb Sturgis, Patrick Robinson, and Bo Allen. I think we'll start with Caleb Sturgis. I think Caleb Sturgis is gone. Hopefully we keep him as a camp leg and as a battle, so Jake Elliott doesn't get it outright, because where Caleb Sturgis is more accurate, shorter, Jake Elliott's the money. Long distance, he's going to be cheaper, but I definitely would like to see a little bit of a kicking competition there. But ultimately, he won't be on the roster. Same goes with LeGarrette Blount, and you have Darren Sproles here. I think LeGarrette Blount's gone. When you look at Darren Sproles, it'd be nice for him to come back on a team-friendly deal, retire with the team, try to go out on top. But in reality, we have Jay and Corey Clement. That's our backfield. If Darren Sproles doesn't want a team-friendly deal and he still wants to play next year, it's going to suck seeing him go. But, you got to make a smart decision here. Ajay can be the pound bag. Clement can be the receiving back. I think, we can try our best to replicate what the Saints had with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara with that. So it'd be really, really, really nice to have Ajay, Clement, and Darren Sproles, because then with Darren Sproles, you get the veteran presence, you get a little bit of receiving back, which might open up more opportunity for Corey Clement to run it between the tackles, which I think he could excel at, and you get the special teams ability, where you can, would have Darren Sproles instead of, Kenyon Barner or something like that, what we had. So that would be dope. We got Corey Graham, who pretty much only got signed because Chris Maragos got down. And that's an interesting one, because Maragos is really, really good at special teams captain. But when he had to play in reserve role, anytime someone got down, be it Roddy McLeod or Malcolm Jenkins, he got exposed. And where you get with Corey Graham is he's not as good at special teams, but I would much rather Corey Graham playing than Chris Maragos. We saw Corey Graham play a lot in the Super Bowl, and sure, he didn't look super great against Gronk, but he held his own in a couple plays. And, if you would say, if Maragos was out there, I'd be like, oh my God, Gronk's going to run over Maragos in every play. So that's kind of a difficult decision there. So, I mean, maybe if you flip Maragos for Graham, it could save a couple bucks. So that's a potential option there. We got Patrick Robinson. He's 31. He's going to be looking for the final deal of his career. I thank him for everything. He was a low-key signing, made great plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Was a pro football focused darling. But looking at spotrack.com, which I'm using for other cap, his market value is around $6 million, almost $7 million per year. He's going to want to cash out at the end of his career. It's going to be his last contract. I don't think he's going to get that high, but let's just kind of make it a little bit more reasonable to $4 million per year. We're not going to be able to pay that. Some team is going to be out there that's desperate for a starting nickel right away that are going to pay them that, and we can't get in a bidding war. Plus, when you look at our corners, we have Darby, Mills, Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas. We'll be fine. We have depth at the position. We're prepared to lose a guy like that, so he will be good at gone. We have Bo Allen, who's interesting. I would like to see Bo Allen come back. I don't know what his market value or perceived market value is going to be. Let me look at the defensive line. We have Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, Elijah Qualls, and Destiny Vallejo. And Qualls and Vallejo, they were a part of that defensive line rotation. So if we lose Bo Allen, it's not going to be a massive loss, but I definitely would rather Bo Allen than Qualls or Vallejo. But again, it's all about what his deal is going to be. So he kind of like Corey Graham's on the bubble of like, depends, and Darren Sproles depends. So ultimately, it comes down to the big two. There's 2 big-time free agents for us. First is Trey Burton. Second is Nigel Bradham. For Trey Burton, I don't think there's a chance in hell we can bring him back. I'm hoping the market value is not what it's projected. SpotRack has him at $7 million, between 6 and 7. That Jack Doyle kind of money. I think he's definitely, in talent-wise, in that range. But again, he deserves to be a tight end one somewhere he can start. And he's not going to start over Zach Ertz. Plus, we have a lot of money already locked into Zach Ertz, and that'd be a lot of money if we re-sign Trey Burton, just invested in the tight end position. But I mean, what would our tight end look without him? If Brent Selleck's gone, that means we have Zach Ertz, and then we either have Billy Brown, who looked decent in the preseason, or we're gonna have to have a draft pick there. It's definitely a downgrade, but I mean that's the struggle of being a Super Bowl champion. You're just not gonna be able to re-sign everybody. So I feel sadly that Trey Burton, we'll definitely probably make a play for him, but he's probably gonna be gone. And then that brings up Nigel Bradham. Nigel Bradham, out of all the free agents, he'd be the guy that I would prioritize. But there is a double-edged sword of that, because when you hear my mock drafts and stuff like that, I have us going after the top linebacker available. So if you look at our linebacking core without Nigel Bradham, it'd be Michael Kendricks, Jordan Hicks, and then our first-round draft pick. So if we plan on using our first-round draft pick to get a linebacker, then why would we, splurge so much on Nigel Bradham? Would you rather get Nigel Bradham's replacement with the first-round pick and then re-sign Trey Burton? Use that money to try to make a play and bring back Trey Burton, or use that first-round draft pick on an outside linebacker, and then we can bring back Darren Sproles, Bo Allen, maybe Corey Graham, something like that. Be a little bit more flexible. It's a tough one, but I think ultimately, even with that first-round draft pick, if we go linebacker, I want Nigel Bradham, because our linebacking core is there's no proven history of staying healthy. Kendrick has had his own injury history. Hicks has always been hurt. So even if we had that first-round draft pick, we need the depth at that position. So if I had to delegate where we're going to spend our available bucks, for me, out of all these free agents, it would be Nigel Bradham. But because I'm stressing so much at the linebacker spot, I only actually have one guy that's not on our team that could be a potential free agent target, and that's Christian Jones from Chicago. He had 89 tackles, 2 sacks on the year. He's 26. I feel like if Nigel Bradham goes somewhere, maybe like a team like the Giants or something like that need a linebacker, a guy like Christian Jones could come into that role. Probably won't excel as much, because Nigel Bradham really, when Jordan Hicks went down, took over that QB of the defense leadership role. But I think a guy like Christian Jones is athletic enough to play in this scheme. Plus, he has some production. He's youth and young on that side. So maybe we could actually get Christian Jones on the same kind of deal that when we brought Bradham over from the Buffalo Bills. So that would probably be the only way I can go. I think they're both Florida State linebackers as well, even though that doesn't really matter. But there you go, guys. That's kind of my take on how the Philadelphia Eagles definitely can get under the cap, and how I would personally, attack free agency and in-house signing. So let me know what you guys would do, if you agree or disagree with anything, in the comment section below. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoy. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.